a playlist original.
Welcome to Back to the Blockbuster, where the movies we love and sometimes love to hate take center stage. I'm Gaz. If it's trending, making headlines, or stirring up controversy in Hollywood, we're covering it. Let's roll.
Tell me what you remember.
A wife? A son.
And then what?
We won the war. Help me go home.
This is a household waiting for master. I want you to choose me.
Ithaca's king is coming back.
No, he's not.
What would he do if he came back here and find all these suitors in his house?
They're pining for a daddy you didn't even know, like some sniveling bastard.
Who's looking after your wife and son?
Do you see?
My dad is coming home.
Bringing vengeance.
Bringing it all.
I need everyone at this party dead.
I can still save them.
You're a man who needs to control his fate. But you cannot control this. That world is gone.
No one could stand between me and home. Not even the gods. Keep us free! I think it's asleep.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a very special episode of Back to the Blockbuster with your hosts, Gaius and Jackson. Today, we're finally breaking down the long-awaited new Christopher Nolan movie. The Odyssey's finally hit theaters back on July 17th. As of recording, it's been out for a week. We both had the chance to see it. Gaius, I imagine you had the chance to see it in IMAX as intended, which is fantastic. I did see it in just regular formatting. More on that in a bit. It was kind of had my own little Odyssey that I went on before I got to see this one. But I'm happy to say I have two other planned screenings to see the Odyssey in IMAX in two different cities, actually, in the next couple of weeks. So very excited for that. This is a movie, no surprise. We were both very much looking forward since it was announced back in 2024. Any movie that Christopher Nolan's working on is going to be a huge cultural moment. Luckily, he puts out movies on like a pretty tight 3-year span, and I hope it's just that same kind of time frame between his next one. I can't wait to see what he does next because I was floored by this movie. Albeit, I don't know how you feel. I'm interested to see your takeaway. I definitely, this movie, stronger than most, I really felt like I need a rewatch before I could perfectly sum up how I feel about it, other than just being in awe. Like, it was a beautiful experience. It was everything I wanted it to be. But that second viewing, I think, is really going to cement my feelings for it and perfectly appreciate everything. But tell me about your experience with it. Seeing in IMAX must have been incredible.
Yeah, I think my reaction to it too was an out of the theater, like, in awe. It's a masterpiece reaction. Like, but I agree with you. Like, I think seeing it again is going to be beneficial. How I see it is going to be interesting because I got to see it in 70mm IMAX through work, so that was a secured screening. I didn't have to worry about it. But those screenings now are virtually sold out. Like, if you want to go to like a primetime showing. If you happen to live, I can only speak for like LA and New York, like being the big locations that my friends are like, dude, I'm trying to see it in that format, but the only times that they're kind of offering are like at 2 a.m. and like 6 in the morning, and the rest of the times are like completely sold out. And I found out yesterday that he has these 70mm IMAX screens locked down until Dune Part 3 comes out. So a lot of these showings, they said there are certain showings that are blocked out and sold out months in advance. So I was like, this is a pretty unprecedented different kind of box office run than when we saw with like something like Obsession, but like still a very like kind of this is someone that does something in this format. Let everyone know that he was going to shoot this film entirely with IMAX cameras. A lot of naysayers try to derail the movie a little bit with all the hoopla about casting and the movie not being historically accurate, even though it's not based on true story.
Yeah. It's still historical fiction. Yeah, a lot of people don't seem to realize that.
And I thought they would shut up after the opening weekend, but they're still going at it. I mean, it opened worldwide to $264 million. It's the biggest global opening of his career. The weekday numbers have been insanely good. I mean, they said that 500 million domestic is locked at this point based on how it's performing, and over $1 billion worldwide. So it'll be his first non-superhero, or I guess IP movie to gross over $1 billion worldwide if it does do that. A lot of people, I wrote something about it. A lot of people have been writing about how he is probably the most powerful director working today, the most influential director working today.
Without a doubt, certainly. Yeah.
I think above all of them right now, and this is like Spielberg, Scorsese, his name alone, generates box office, revenue. And when it comes to his films, like he is the brand. Like, I mean, this movie is stacked with like ensemble cast that would generate like box office receipts. But I love that this movie wasn't really. I mean, he was smart in how he cast it, because I think they were right for their roles, but also I think in the back of his mind he's thinking also there's a commercial aspect of it. I watched the interview with him that he did on The View. That was the only reason I was watching The View this week, because he was on with Matt Damon.
I saw a snippet of that as well. Yeah.
And it was they were discussing about why you had them speak with like American accents and all that stuff, and like the whole idea was like making it more accessible for general audiences. And I think that's why he also cast it the way he did, to make the movie more accessible. But he also didn't sacrifice the integrity of the source material by doing that either. I thought that was like the most important thing. So you can cast like a Tom Holland, a Zendaya, and all that, and still not sacrifice the integrity of the film that you're trying to make by just casting names and roles. So I think he was just really smart about how he did it. No director is really working on the level that he's working at right now.
Not quite. There
are other directors who are like doing really good work. I don't want to put them down or anything, but he has. I mean, Warner Brothers must be so mad that they fumbled that bag after Tenet came out, because I mean, again, their loss is Universal's gain, because they got a nice $975 million out of Oppenheimer, like a movie that like clearly like any other director would have directed that, it would have made nearly as much money. You directed like an historical like drama, released it in the dead of summer, and it made superhero like movie money. And this too is gonna like another thing that he just released in the around July is like his month. Really, because like a few of his movies celebrated anniversaries, like as this movie was coming out. And I don't know, he's just like an unmatched talent, and I was really just impressed by the awe and scope of it, and to see it how it was intended to see, just the scale that he made this movie in, and like have it be done primarily like practically for the most part, is another short of amazing. I mean, it gave me a sense of like, because I saw this movie in the Invite in the same week, right? And both movies made me realize like why I love movies so much, because you have
he's always great for that.
Yeah, you have this one like the Odyssey is this big grand epic, full of scope and scale. This kind of like old school kind of masterpiece that we don't really get anymore at all. Old Hollywood used to make movies like this, right? And I'm watching something like that, which is so great in its own right. It's going to be hard for me to pick what will be my favorite movie of the year. I know we got more of the year to go. And then I watch something like The Invite, which is like a small, like, comedy drama with 4 people in one location. But like, it's like, just as good in its own right too. But it was just so great to see like what these people are kind of working with, in terms of their films. And I came out of last week seeing 2 really great movies. And I agree with you. I really came out my brother, I saw it with him and he loved it instantly. Like I've never heard him talk about a movie as quickly as he did as soon as we like walked out of the theater. Yeah. And I think I got caught up in that excitement too, because I was just like, masterpiece, whatever. Anyone that asked me, I'm like, it's a masterpiece. Like, are you sure? Like, you didn't even let it marinate. I'm like, I don't need to.
You don't need to. Excellence when you see it, right? And Christopher Nolan always delivers on that. But I'm in the same boat where I really need to. That second watch will really allow me to like fully appreciate some of like the denser behind the camera aspects of this movie, like some of the philosophical aspects of the movie, and like some of the nuances and like the characters, because it takes place over such a wide scale of time, right? So like the first watch, you really get to appreciate the physical aspects of the movie, the acting performances, the shot sequences, like how the movie is shot and choreographed, and just those physical aspects of the movie. But that second watch is where I think I'll really be able to, and most audience members, I'm sure too, will be able to appreciate more some of the subtle nuances to the movie, like a lot of the just dramatic components behind that kind of get overlooked in that first watch. So again, like I said, I know I loved it. I know, like you said, you walk out, you understand it's a masterpiece, but to articulate it comes with, I think, multiple viewings. And that's what I'm most excited for.
And I know we're going to talk about like specific character work in general, but one of the biggest complaints of Nolan's career is that he doesn't really know how to kind of craft female characters at all. I think that kind of gets put to rest with Penelope and Anne Hathaway's performance. I think she, particularly in the third act, completely owns it. I mean, Anne Hathaway's always been good. And she's been great in some other stuff. I think Rachel Getting Married is probably like the best thing I had seen her in before this, and that she got nominated for an Academy Award for that, and then she won for Les Mis like some years after that. But this was a female character with so much agency and like depth, and like I was really impressed with that, because I have also kind of fallen in that. I don't like completely agreeing with the whole he doesn't really write or know how to utilize his female characters as well as like other directors do. Because even in Oppenheimer, he directed Emily Blunt to an Oscar nomination, but I do see where there could be a complaint about how they don't have as much agency as like the male characters. But I think that gets put to rest with what's done with Penelope and how she's utilized and how strong she is throughout the entire like run of the movie and all of her scenes. This is like, to me, like I said, the best work that Anne Hathaway has done in a really, really long time. So
she's kind of coming back from a hiatus, so to speak. I don't know how long, but she hasn't been very active.
Yeah, like her, everyone's like several people in this movie are having this like 5 movie run like this year. Robert Pattinson,
Zendaya,
and her, and then like so it's I'm glad. I mean, like, it's good for her. I mean, like, it's good for these people to have these kind of like great runs to remind you like why they are so good. Because like after she won her Oscar, Anne Hathaway went through a whole like, she wasn't really as viewed as like the most likable person. I don't know why that was at the time. The internet decided to hate her. Yeah, the internet decided to hate her. They thought she was pretentious. A lot of especially female actors like go through it. Jennifer Lawrence has gone through it. Brie Larson. It always happens, but she got out of that rut, and now people are just singing her praises, and it's really great to see. I mean, so like, I was impressed with how he really gave, like, not even just her. I mean, some of the best moments involved like the female characters in the movie. Samantha Morton has really, really great scene. Like, I mean, like completely, and even Zendaya, as small as that role is, like there's a pivotal moment later in the movie that actually is good for her. That is like only with like no dialogue, but like just like her reacting, and then that was really strong too. I know I was impressed by not only his technical like prowess, I guess, but I guess I never really paid attention, even though he's gotten great performances out of his actors, that he is a actors directors as well. But I think it's because he kind of stays out of their way a little bit. Because like most of the stories I've heard about how he works with them, like Robert Pattinson told a story about like asking for a certain type of direction, and Christopher Nolan basically told him like that's your department, and like let him do what he wanted. And I mean, that might not work with every director, but it seems to work here, where there is a perfect marriage between like the actor, artist, and the director, where there's like respect and they know what he wants, and he casts them for a reason, so he already knows that they're talented and doesn't need to necessarily like pull these things out of them because he already knows they can do it. And that's a really unique relationship too between certain directors and actors that I don't think always exists, and it seems to exist with everyone that he works with.
Mm-hmm. And I think part of that comes from his casting, people that he's worked with numerous times too. There's a lot of recurring Nolan actors in this movie too, so he's got this rapport and this foundation with working with a lot of his main core cast members that he has trust in, and then likewise have trust in him and kind of know what he's looking for, even though he does demand really grueling takes and shooting schedules. You can tell everyone that is on board with shooting with him is there for him because they understand how lucky it is to be involved in a production, big or small role. That's definitely comes down to the performances he gets out of his actors too.
And it's not a glamorous like set. I mean, everyone that's worked on his movies has talked about there's no chairs on set. You don't get to like sit down and chill. Know, with this movie, Matt Damon said like when we were on a boat in the middle of the water, we were on a boat in the middle of the water, like, but everyone was. He's like that includes the crew, that includes him, it includes Nolan. He's not just sitting back like somewhere on the island directing from afar, like with the walkie-talkie. He's in there with them. And I think he's like, and everyone that's worked with him said that's what he's like. He, even though this is like a $250 million movie, they're like, you wouldn't think it based on like how he, a lot of directors and studios will cater to actors and pamper them. And that's not the case when you work with him. Is, like we're kind of like in the trenches together. That's kind of his attitude, and I think that works. I think it brings the best out of everyone that's working.
My gosh,
from top to bottom, like actors, like crew. I think that they all are, they're all there working with them because they want to, and they already, since a lot of people have already worked with them, they already know it. And then the newbies, they already heard about it, and they just really want to work with them. So I mean, it's good to have that kind of reputation. I think.
I think that distinction about the not the settings, but the conditions rather that he has on his set, like you mentioned, no chairs, not pampering actors, is a great distinction between.
No phones, another one too. No cell phones.
Yeah, exactly. Notable Christopher Nolan trait. That I think is a great distinction between an artist making a movie for artistic purposes versus a studio making a movie as a product. And we get it's no surprise we get. Christopher Nolan's movies are always universally acclaimed, long lasting, have this incredible shelf life versus like some other movies that are sort of marketed as products that are forgettable by the next month.
Yeah, agreed. So what, I guess at the start, one of the things that people have kind of talked about, and I just want to get like any small complaint out of the way right now. And this is like a small one. Some people have like discussed the whole nonlinear storytelling and whether or not that works or not, particularly in like the first act. Cause like, and this is like really like faint complaints. Like even my friend that loved it felt like it took a while to find a groove. And that part of the reason for them was like the way the story was told. But I actually thought like the kind of nonlinear way that it was told was actually beneficial to the movie, and I thought it really kind of put you like in the kind of the unknown of like what his journey was actually like, and like I really thought that it would benefit, and I want to know what you thought about how they structured like the actual film itself.
I totally was on board with the structure of the movie, especially like taking into consideration the arcs of the journey that Odysseus is going on. Because keep in mind, at least at the point that the Odyssey story picks up, it's about an 8 to 10 year journey post Trojan War. Lots of those sequences in the movie where he spends 7 years on the island with, oh my gosh, I'm thinking Calypso. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of sequences in that movie, but because they're spaced out the way they are, it kind of adds a little bit to the perception of how long he's been on that island. That wouldn't really pay off as well if we had a linear story where it's them setting sail back home post Trojan War, all the trials and tribulations they go through, and then a short little sequence where he's on that island. I don't think that would have, if it was filmed linearly, wouldn't have really given sense to that sense of scale of how long he spent on that island. But because we get glimpses throughout all 3 acts of the movie of him being there in between, recounting his journey to her, definitely aids in how that the movie flows structurally. I think the nonlinear
it makes you feel great. How long it actually is. You actually feel the length of time that he's been trying to get home, and then what ended up happening. And I also think it's more impactful, but it's when Calypso finally he starts to remember and like all that stuff. It makes that scene more impactful in the end, because it, as an audience member, you're on that journey with him to kind of these kind of like spliced up scenes between them, because it keeps going back and forth about him trying to like remember how he got there, even asking like where his men are. He still doesn't even know exactly like if they're there, if they're not there. And then that kind of realization of like how long he's actually been there when she finally tells him, and then the kind of portrayal of like, you didn't tell me this, and like you kept me here and all that. So I think it actually works that better that it was kind of spliced in throughout.
100%.
It's more
bringing up a little bit of a nitpick, like you kind of touched on in the first act. I did find, I was kind of warned about this. Like I stayed away from like a lot of reviews and breakdowns. I didn't want to spoil any aspect of the movie, but there's some things you can't avoid scrolling on the internet about, because this is all over every single platform I've seen. Everyone's talking about the Odyssey since it dropped. And one thing that I did kind of get a heads up before I went in, and I found it to be a little bit true, is that the first, maybe not the first full act, but definitely a good sequence of the first act, it was a little exposition heavy. And I understand that as part of making the story accessible to people that aren't, ancient Greek historians that aren't familiar with the Odyssey. But I guess it was a little bit of a nitpick. I did remember thinking to myself, okay, like that was very on the nose dialogue, very much clearly setting up who's who and what's going on, that I feel could have just been told environmentally. And I don't think it would have changed the story if someone doesn't exactly understand who's who in relation to each other. But it is what it is. Like, I guess part of his job is marketing this movie and making it accessible to a wide variety of audiences. So I can kind of set that aside. But there was a lot of Nolan exposition.
Was there like moments in particular that you felt it was more exposition heavy than most? Mostly
like the early scenes on Ithaca at the castle, where I think mostly part of it being Penelope explaining to Telemachus, Tom Holland's character, about what's going on, who Odysseus was. There's some, I don't have any like exact examples of dialogue, just because it's a 3-hour-long movie. I saw it 5 days ago.
I guess just like explaining her situation too, like the situation that they found themselves in because he's gone. There's like there are all these people, like she's been, Anne Hathaway described it as like being trapped in like a home invasion where they just won't leave. And I was like, that's actually squatters. Yeah. So explaining all that too, I guess. And I guess it is Nolan does do that a bit. Like, he has kind of like, but I guess he wants the audience to really like understand what's
and you can understand why he does that,
especially in something like this where he could lose the audience if they don't really feel like they're keeping up with everything. But yeah, I get it. Like the first act, maybe not the entire first act, but yeah, you're right. A lot of the stuff on Ithaca where they're like kind of like it's almost like a who's who.
Part of it is they do gotta, and Nolan as like a writer is also got to fill in gaps that aren't included in this story. Like he's including and filling us in about what happened at Troy, which isn't entirely depicted in the Odyssey. So it makes sense that he's got to fill the gaps through character dialogue. So that's totally excusable, but something I noticed. But again, I had virtually nothing else to nitpick about this movie other than the only character that I wanted more of, that I feel like we didn't get enough just because of how insanely impressive he was on screen, was Agamemnon, Benny Safdie's character. I wanted like 40 more minutes of him on screen.
I forgot the exact words they're using. Is it like Euroframing or whatever? I guess that or framing, whatever. Some of us call it swag.
Exactly.
He looked so cool. There was like moments where he would just walk into a shot, and I kind of forgot. I mean, I knew that he was playing him because I had like they give us like a just knowing it. They gave us like a cast list when we went to go see it during our screening, but I totally forgot it was him. And he has such a commanding presence. Like, it was just like, I mean, he didn't even have to really do much. I mean, it was just like the way that Nolan shot him and framed him just made him look so fucking cool. I know that's like probably like the most lamest terms way of putting
my phone background right now.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
it's so
such
cool.
a great shot of him. Someone described him as an ancient Greek Darth Vader, and I thought that was such a perfect description, man. Like his costume was among the best in the movie, and that's saying a lot. There was a lot of like thousands of costumes in this movie. I think something like 3,500 I saw were crafted for this movie, which is absolutely incomprehensible. But he was by far the standout. His character was so awesome, and does a lot by saying little. There's much of the sequences he's in. There's virtually no dialogue. He just commands authority just by presence alone.
Just walking into a shot. I was like,
his entrance into Troy after the gate is open was such an awesome sequence. He looked incredible.
Yeah, I feel like Nolan was just making scenes like that, just knowing how everyone in the crowd reacts. I mean, I was at a professional screening and people were just like cheering and applauding. It was so cool to see. I've actually heard that from people going to regular screenings that it's been the same at some of theirs. Like people just, particularly as like, I mean, everyone loves the third act. Like whatever from everyone, even people that thought like this was like middle of the road Nolan, and by middle of the road, it's still good, but like it's not their favorite. But everyone's just like they're like that third act just hits. It's so good. I don't know. It's just to craft what he did. There's just so much. It has to be. I mean, like you said, like the amount of time he spends between movies. I mean, it's like usually like 3 years, right? But still, like he's
kept that trend since Interstellar in 2014. He's released a movie every 3 years, which is incredible considering the product he's putting out and the work behind it.
Yeah, I mean, even if I have like, I don't think I've ever had like doubts, but I think even with this, I was like, I wonder, like, no, I mean, it's this whole like in Christopher Nolan we trust, like, you know, you just let him him cook, it'll be good. And I just impressed by like what he brings to every movie that he makes. And and you know, I know I've complained that like, oh, I wish he'd go back to making smaller stuff like Memento and Insomnia. That'd be great. But like, I mean, he's probably just destined and made to make movies like this for the rest of his career. And that's and that's
if he's not going to do it, who will, right?
Yeah,
he's taking that mantle.
And you know, he said it before. He said in interviews that like he understands how hard it is to get to a position to make movies like this, and he doesn't want to squander the opportunity. So, I mean, I used to be like, no, go back to like making smaller movies, but you know, after seeing this, I was like, there's no one putting out this level of scope and scale like matched with like quality. It's nothing is sacrificed for the scope and scale. So like there's the technical aspects are like superb, but like you know he's still working with like an incredible screenplay, narrative, everything about what he's putting together also works. Like nothing is like sacrificed because he's paying so much attention to something else. You know, it seems like everything is like a perfect marriage of like all the like technical cinematic aspects that he is known to work with, and that is rare. Like sometimes like style you know, will kind of trump substance with certain directors, and that doesn't really happen with him.
He has a perfect marriage of both in all of his movies. Kind of begs a question, and I'm curious if you've seen or have any of your own thoughts about, and it's obviously impossible to guess, but there's a lot of discourse right now about what he's going to do next, which is always the case as soon as his movie comes out. I've seen a lot of speculation about him tackling another epic poem in Dante's Inferno, which
Dante's Inferno.
Have you seen people talk about that or suggest that he'd take that on next? I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think it'd be really good too. And like a lot of people have after they saw this, like on X, when people were like, "What should he do next?" And a lot of people keep sharing like an image from Dante's Inferno. I think that would be really good. I guess because of, and we can talk about this with certain sequences. He has talked about wanting to do one. He's talking about wanting to do a horror movie, and there are a few scenes in this movie that give a clear indication that he could do it, because there was like the Cyclops scene in particular was riddled with like tension and was surprisingly like, I think I kind of forgot like, you know, it was an R-rated movie. I knew it was an R-rated movie, but
I don't think I knew that going in, so I was totally surprised. Yeah.
So once we got there, I was like, oh yeah, it is very much an R-rated movie. That whole sequence was a horror movie sequence, like from top to bottom.
Yeah,
And
a monster movie.
Yeah, a full-on monster movie and done so well. Like the way he utilizes like light and space and all that, and he even had like a little bit of a jump scare in there without it really like a blatant jump scare. It was just like he handled that really well too. So I mean, he said he would want to do one, but he needs a really good story to do a horror film. But judging from a few scenes of this, he could easily do it.
Oh, he could easily do it. And I would love, he's great with his adaptations, and several of his movies have been adaptations, but even his original works like Interstellar and Inception prove that he can craft, genuinely intriguing stories from his own mind. I mean, in collaboration with his brother as well. But I would love to see in any format a Christopher Nolan horror movie. He's proven he can do it. There's been discourse and wishing of him to do something like that for a long time now. I think Dante's Inferno would be great ground to cover by him doing that, because that story is, by nature horrifying. So I would really like to see something like that. But that and the Cersei sequence, some of the greatest body horror I think we've seen in a long time.
Which reportedly was done practically too. I listened to interviews with some of the actors, and I was like, and that's another reason why I want to go back and watch it again, because I was like, in my mind, it didn't feel like it could have been. It looked, but then the way they described how it was done practically, I was like, oh, I guess it could have been like done practically and just shot well and like a lot of good editing and like clever cuts. That scene almost took me out. It was like so gross. I like it was. I mean, in the best way possible. I was just surprised that it kind of, I guess, went there the way that it went there, and it was a genuinely like kind of scary scene too. And Samantha Morton like ate all her screen time up.
Yeah, she did.
She was really good.
And we get that traditional signature Nolan like tracking, like I don't know what the term is, but like his like circular pan shot that he's always known for. We get in that sequence too. It's like traveling around the table as Cersei is like transforming the men into pigs. It was just incredible to see that shot.
And it was so cool. Yeah. And like to watch it gradually, like the way it was like cut and edited, like you would see them like in human form 1 second, and then a split second later, almost like watch them gradually start to transform into pigs. And like it was just the way that it was cut together. It felt so seamless the way it was done. And but I really thought there was some CGI used there. Like they were like, no, they did it practically. I was like, well, shit.
I struggled.
I was more impressed. Afterwards.
While watching, I was struggling to see where CGI was even used in the movie, because obviously some sequences and shots have to incorporate it, but I really struggled to find, like, he blends it so seamlessly. The only thing I could think of while watching is like the big whirlpool scene, which I heard even was partly done practically by having like jet skis drive in a circle to create like a rippling whirlpool effect, which obviously would have been expanded with computer effects. But even that looks so flawless and seamlessly done. I don't know how he does this practical stuff.
Yeah, I don't know either. And I mean, I've got and the budget it's huge because of the just the vast like scale and scope of the movie, and like to have a budget that big without a lot of CGI, because like most movies with a $250 million budget, it would be because it's like so CGI heavy, and this isn't. This is because he wanted to like the people that worked like during the whole like Battle of Troy, they said like he really just what their mind like recreated it and like pretty much like built a whole battlefield for them to work on, and that's how big like the scope of that sequence was. Like when they said when they got there, they felt like they were in it. It didn't feel like a set or like something that was constructed by a movie crew. They felt that it was so like authentic and lifelike that they were actually there, and it's like what they pictured in their minds, like they seamlessly like recreated to shoot it. And that takes a lot of like talent, time, money, all the above to put together.
Just one other point on the mention of horror. There was a scene that wasn't even like designed to be frightening, but there was a jump scare in this movie that legit. So I watched it. I was in the theater by myself. Like it was a full theater, but I was there. I didn't have anybody else with me. Long story short, but I was sitting, like I had a couple of seats on either side by myself, and I'm watching the scene, and spoiler alert. And I didn't know this before watching the movie either, that Agamemnon's character, when he is assassinated by his wife, that cut of her lunging at him on the bed with the knife, like I jumped out of my skin, and that's
because it's like it's kind of hinted to in the dialogue, like that something's gonna be amiss, you're expecting all this praise when you return home and blah blah blah, right? You're like, okay, well, something's gonna go wrong, but it doesn't really give you like indication like that will be what is gonna go wrong, and the way it cuts to that, and kudos to Lupita Nyong'o. It's not a lot of screen time, but like her face, her like everything about that like was frightening, and
she conveys a lot of emotion.
Yeah, it sold it completely. And you know what? For all this was all generated by, I guess, people online. For all the fucking hoopla surrounding her being cast as Helena Troy, and then even like I guess to a lesser extent Zendaya's casting as Athena. These were people that didn't have like a ton of screen time, and I just like it's just interesting that it created all this controversy and stir, and like it didn't really need to be any whatsoever, considering that. I mean, even if they did have longer parts and they have more screen time, it wouldn't matter. But it's just so crazy that this was all generated over two actors in particular who have like maybe 8 minutes of screen time between the both of them
combined. It's all part of this market for controversy that exists online, and everything that's going to be commanding attention at this scale, like a Christopher Nolan movie. I think we're in this age where it's just to be expected. Everybody's going to share their opinions and try to like dwell up hype, either positive or negative, about something of this scale. And it's to be expected. But even me, like, I'm not going to say that it didn't affect my perception of the movie going in. Like I wouldn't go so far as to say doubts, but it was in the back of my mind. Like there's a lot of positive hype as well, but there was a lot of negative animosity for this movie going in, and it was bothering me to an extent. And while watching, that all just melted away. Like there was none of these concerns that I saw shared online about this movie were actually present in the movie. And if that is the hill people want to die on over casting about fictional people in a historically fictional story, then they're just doing themselves a disservice and missing out on a incredible work of art. And I had basically no reservations about anything like that.
Yeah, and honestly, the three, I guess the other one would be Elliot Page. They complained about his casting too, and like honestly, like ended up being a strong moment, had a really strong scene as well. I thought, later in the movie, there were a lot like even the smallest parts. I thought everyone had like at least one moment to shine, and that I cared about that above all else. One, it's an adaptation. It's his interpretation of, and of how he wanted to adapt it. It's also people are like complaining about it like it's based on a true story, and it's just not. I mean, it's just funny to me, like it's a work of fiction, and they're acting like when people say historical accuracy, I'm like, all right, I know like what they're trying to go at too is like, oh, you should have cast like authentically like Greek actors and all this stuff, whatever. That's one hill that you can maybe die on, but when it gets specific about like race and like gender and stuff like that, then it becomes less about like, I feel like you're caring less about it being historically accurate, and it has more to do with like a more of a bigoted ideology, and I think that seems to be where it seems to be coming from. Like Elon Musk has been like the big one that has been like deriding this movie since day one, and that's continued to. I think he said yesterday that he is going to use AI by the end of the year to make a historically accurate version of the Odyssey.
Sure.
It's got this movie has gotten a lot of like conservative pundits in their panties in the twist. It's also at the end of the day, it's just a movie, so like, I don't understand like how this could generate that much rage bait and tension. But I am happy that Christopher Nolan as a person has just ignored it. It's just like almost like one interview he gave about it, I thought was the best way to do it. He was like, it comes with the territory, and a lot of people have like attacked the movie without having seen it. And he was like, remember, I worked with the Batman IP for 10 years. I know what it's like to like deal with people who are very nervous and opinionated about how they think things should be, usually before they even see a single frame of film. And his argument was like to kind of like ignore it and let the work speak for itself. So like that was
the
smartest thing to do, because in the end of the day, like all that noise didn't do anything to hurt the movie. So.
Exactly. He knows, the merit that he puts into his work, and like you said, it's going to speak for itself, and it would do nothing for him to try and thwart those sort of criticisms when he is well aware about, the value that he's putting out there in this movie and into cinema in general. I'm sure that it's like the equivalent to ants walking across his feet with hearing all this blabber about casting and stuff like that. It must mean nothing. It does.
Yeah,
truly.
I agree. Speaking of performance, I mean, I guess we can kind of. What did you think of Matt Damon as far as because like I had to rank his performances for the website, and I had seen it. I seen this before. I did that, and for a while, like Good Will Hunting was like tops for me from him.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up putting this in number one. I don't know. It could be just because it was fresh in my mind, but like I think it's like, as far as like commitment and just watching him like evolve as a character in a project, I think this was like his most fully formed performance that he's ever given,
and probably among his lengthiest leading performances for sure. Right, he does a lot of heavy lifting in this movie. Shares the screen with lots of other people that are in it for a long time, but he is the emotional core of the movie. I'd say among one of I haven't really ranked it amongst my favorites yet, but I would say it's among his best performances. I'm sure he's a shoo-in at least for a nomination for leading actor in this movie. Specifically, his scene tied to the mass, listening to the siren.
I was going to mention that siren,
and incredibly acted sequences. Some of the more subtle emotional moments that he has, like when he gets back to Ithaca and his scenes with John Leguizamo, where he's like detailing, that he's coming back with a vengeance. Those were great. I did find his performance a little bit more subdued than I expected. Like, that's not a criticism, just like clearly that's how he was written to be. The character wasn't written to be very animated, I suppose. And I didn't really know what to expect because I haven't seen this work translated to film before. But there was a lot of like stoicism in his role, which I thought was interesting as well. But yeah, his performance was incredible. Hearing Good Will Hunting, I just rewatched that like a couple months ago, and I'm like, I'm still so high on that performance from him. But I'd say that this is of equal caliber.
It's so good. Someone shared online, because everyone's like so hyped up for like everyone in this movie and like going back and like watching their past work, and people have been sharing that scene with him and Minnie Driver, where she wants him to move to California, and then she's saying that he's like too scared to do it, and they go into that whole thing about like he's like yelling at her about she's yelling at him about like being like an orphan and all that stuff, and then she instantly feels bad when she realizes that like he's been through stuff, and they're kind of going back and forth with each other. Like
that scene
he's so
is incredible.
Good. He's so good in that scene, and then I've also it's not your fault scene is also like he's like really good. And then like I rewatched like the other night, I rewatched The Talented Mr. Ripley. He's really good in that. Like
I haven't seen.
You know what? I would say maybe I don't know what I expected of him before watching this, but after it was all done, I was like, is it possible that like even though he's been really good and stuff, he is a 2-time Academy Award nominee as an actor. Of course he won for screenwriting, but like, is he considered underrated? Like I felt like I underestimated him, even though he has good performances under his belt, and I don't know where that
might have as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think because he does a mix of like this kind of like high drama prestige stuff, but he can also do entertaining like tentpole movies like the Bourne movies and the Ocean's movies are like more like popcorn movies. He can do everything, and he is suited for everything. And I guess he has like a leading man persona, but I don't know. I think I vastly underestimated him, even though like I can go back and like watch The Martian, like, oh yeah, he was fucking great in that, or like go back and watch Good Will Hunting, but like he was really great in that. But like when I think of like actors that I like, actors in my like top, I don't think I would have thought of him, and I kind of felt bad.
No, that's valid, because he doesn't usually come to mind either, but yet for decades has always put in very reliable, amazing performances, but for some reason kind of gets overshadowed by some of his other peers, I guess, that are in the same age as him.
Yeah.
But no, he is exceptional. And I think this movie, I hope at least his performance in the Odyssey sort of rewrites the narrative about his marketability and his, attractiveness as a leading performer, because he was incredible. I guess great supporting role from him in the Oppenheimer just a couple of years ago too with Nolan too. Very underrated performance in that movie as well. So I'm really glad that Nolan chose him. This is a role that I do think there's other people that could have done this role. It's not like a role like career defining or anything by Matt Damon, but he did perform it exceptionally well.
I've seen Christian Bale thrown around a lot from people that thought that if they
would have this role in him.
Yeah. And then another one, they were doing the little replacement stuff with Tom Holland and Timothée Chalamet, that they could see that switched out. I guess it's a good time to talk about him. I thought he was good. I mean, it's just the role is what it is. And I think Tom Holland easily conveys a young boy who is desperately seeking answers. He doesn't know his father, but is hearing tales of his father. All he knows is all these stories that he hears about him. And then he also sees what's happening around his mother and all these men essentially just encroaching in their home just to take his father's place, at her side, in her bed, whatever. And I thought he did a good job of telegraphing that and then showing significant growth by the time we get to the third act and showing the potential of someone who could become a man and step up. I thought he was really good in that regard. There are some people that saying that they weren't as impressed with him, but he has two significant moments where he has to be really great, and he nails both of them. And it's when Jon Bernthal is telling him about tales of his father, and it's a really emotional scene for him, and he's tearing up and crying through it. And then when he realizes that that beggar is actually his dad, and that is also a really good moment too. So even if you might have thought that he wasn't as strong as everyone else throughout the whole movie, he had to nail two moments specifically, and I thought he nailed both of his most important ones. Completely stepped up to his A game. So that's what I thought of him. I know people are kind of mixed about him overall. What did you think about him?
I would probably put myself in that category. I do think he played the role well. He didn't disappoint. I'll put it that way. I guess I wasn't crazy about him being cast in the first place. It just wouldn't have been my first choice, but he performs the role well. I would say that the narrative doesn't really give him a lot of moments to shine, but he does come through when it's required, like you said. I thought he was serviceable, better than serviceable. He was good. I'll give him that. He didn't disappoint. There's, but I do think, again, another role like Timothée Chalamet could have really done well with that. Not a role that could have been played by Tom Holland by any means, but I guess he went I'll go so far as to say he went above expectations for me, because I only really know him as Spider-Man.
Spider-Man,
strike me as a Nolan caliber actor, but I think he proved himself, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nolan works with him again.
Yeah, and Nolan wanted him. I mean, he sought him out for it. So I mean, I guess that says a lot that he really wanted him for it. I mean, it seems like the complaints are that he felt too kind of impish for the role, but that seems to be the part, because he's not quite a man. Right. He's not quite a man. He's still a boy. He's not quite a man when we meet him. And then by the time once he realizes that he went on that journey to learn about his father. He didn't find him, but he learned about him. And then once he realizes my dad is at home, but we can't tell nobody yet. I feel like he kind of gets a little he grows up a little bit in those scenes.
Definitely. He has a great arc. His character has a great arc in that movie throughout too, going from boy to man, finally proving himself as a defender of his home, worthy of being the king. I liked his character a lot.
And it was interesting because people had thrown around Timothée Chalamet. I don't know if I could have shaken the whole Dune, thing. If I think that would have felt too ish. I don't know. Because when I was watching Tom Holland, I didn't really see Peter Parker, so so that was able to separate. Even though he's known for that franchise as a big part of his career, it was, and he's been in other stuff that I've seen. Tom Holland has had the unfortunate. And this will probably change now, but he has had the unfortunate luck of the stuff he's done outside of the MCU. He's been good in, but they haven't been good projects. I liked him in Cherry, but the movie got really awful reviews. Like I thought he was really good in it, but it got awful reviews. I watched The Crowded Room, that Apple like miniseries that he did. He was good in it, but it got awful reviews. And then there's Uncharted, which is like he was good in it, but that was like too similar to like Peter Parker. So like he's had it really like, it's weird to say rough luck because he's very successful, but he, as far as like, you could tell that he is striving to maybe be more than what,
and break out of the shell a little bit. This would be a great, like, what's the term? Like a stepping point or something like that.
It seems like this
to
is
that next stage of his career. Yeah, exactly. This will a launching pad is what I'm trying to say. To another part of his career.
And it's so weird to like say that because he's been doing this for a while. I think he was 17 when he like put in his audition for Spider-Man, and then he started like on like the London stage and like was in the Impossible, that movie with like Ewan McGregor.
Oh, yes, that's right.
When he was a kid. That. So like he's been doing it a while. So it is weird to see like, oh, this like, you know, he's finally like coming into his own. But I think that he has finally worked with someone that really pulled it out of him. I do love like the stories he's told about like, one, in order to do this movie, he had to go to Sony and say like, I can't start Spider-Man yet because they were supposed to start the same day. And he was like, can you please, I want to work with Nolan. And Sony, you know, he's their cash cow, so they weren't gonna like make him mad. So they were like, yep, you can do the Nolan movie. So good on Sony for like letting him do it.
Yeah.
But I love the stories that he was telling about like I don't know if he's doing it on purpose. I don't think he is, because it seems like it's genuine. He was talking about like an elaborate like fight scene in the Odyssey. He was like, it would have taken like almost 2 months if it was a Marvel movie, and we did ours in like 2 weeks. And I was like, that says a lot about like how those sets are run and how a Nolan set is run. And I was like, homie went and made a real movie and then went back to that Spider-Man set. It was like, this isn't gonna work. We can't make movies like this anymore. And I do love that attitude though, because it seemed like that's what happened. Like his whole attitude about making films now, it seems like it's changed since he did this. Like he's like, this is how a real set's run. This is how you can make things like efficiently. You can have an expensive movie, but like these could like move at a steady pace. Like
I feel like his more boyish characters, I think, we're probably near the end of that part of his career, and he'll be
I think he actually said
now,
that.
so.
He said that this is the last time he was going to be able to play like a boy, and like, you know, and now he's going to step into adult roles. I mean, he's moving full steam ahead on that Fred Astaire biopic, so that'll probably be a big thing for him if it's done right.
I know that name, but not for
he's
what
like
he's known for.
Like back in the day, like old Hollywood like dancer, like really really good dancer.
Okay.
Like Fred Astaire and like Ginger Rogers, like really extremely like talented like tap dancer. And Tom Holland can dance, and he wants to do it without any doubles. So you take your Academy Award, Tom Holland, because like it's not gonna happen for this. Not even a nomination, and I don't mean that as an insult.
No, it's just
it's
not
a
in the
role
cards.
and it's on. And I don't think it's a role. Maybe in a weaker year he could like sneak. If anyone is gonna sneak in supporting actor, it'll be Robert Pattinson, who I thought stole every scene that he was in. Like he was just so like, he reminded me, maybe not as strong because like the character isn't as fully formed, or like, I hate to say like well written. It's just not as like given as much depth as like Joaquin Phoenix and Gladiator, but it reminded me of that. Like the way like that's so like it was just like he was just so gross. Everything about it was just so like
cowardly.
But also I was like having so much fun like during that whole fight scene when the swords and stuff were falling down from the hole, and he was just in the corner just like, you know, like grab the sword,
not doing anything himself.
It was just hilarious. Like in lesser hands it could have been like so campy and bad, but like he did it just right. And you could tell that he was evil to the point of like he would do something like he couldn't fight, of course, and he proved that. But he would be like someone that would sneak up on you behind your back, which he tried to do, and like slit your throat. Like he still was capable of being like truly evil. And I thought he played that really well. It just like the character wasn't as like, you know, there wasn't a lot on the page, I guess, for that character, but he did a lot with very little, I thought.
Yeah, another supporting performance that I've been seeing a little bit of love for. I think people are more surprised about how much screen time this character got, but Himesh Patel's character, whose name I don't have in front of me, and I wouldn't bother trying to say it if I wasn't reading it. But he was really big part of like the actual Odyssey part with Odysseus.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really great supporting role that came out of
he was
nowhere and
really
really
good.
surprised me.
I didn't expect him to have that much screen time either, and he really.
No.
A lot of people have been like calling him out as saying that he's one that should be noticed more.
Yeah.
John Leguizamo was another one that surprised me. I mean, I've seen him in so many different things. I've seen him do serious work before, so that wasn't really the surprise. But I think it was just like I didn't expect him to kind of be like the heart of the movie. I guess like there was like this unwavering like loyalty that he had that I think he sold like really really well.
Yeah,
and he was surprisingly strong in like so many scenes. There are people saying that he could like sneak in.
I
supporting character
wouldn't be disappointed if that happened. And it's even crazier considering that one of his first scenes is him throwing a puppy like off a cliff, which is like just done so nonchalantly. I was like, that would be hard for audiences to get past that, I think. But there's no malice in him, I guess. Like his character is just like you said, like very loyal, beloved, and true to his character throughout the end. And it's hard not to love a character like that, especially played by like a veteran actor at top of his game. He was exceptional in that too. Between him and Himesh Patel, if there was a second supporting actor nomination, like I think it could go to either one of them.
Yeah, with Robert Pattinson, he's in so many things this year. They always talk about like how like when people are in a lot of projects, they kind of split the vote. And like, what do you, and then also it depends on what their respective studios, like who's going to campaign and where. Because, he has Prime Time coming out in September where he's playing the To Catch a Predator host. And he actually sounds like he nailed that. The voice alone is really good. He had the drama earlier this year. I mean, those aren't necessarily movies that I will maybe gain. I mean, I'm sure the drama gets like some Golden Globe love because it is a fun little like dramedy. But like when you're in that many projects, and a lot of people are saying like, I know there are a lot of Academy voters that have already. The Odyssey has been screened for Academy members already. And a lot of the anonymous things is that they're saying is that everyone should pack it up and go home because this is like going to be like they expect him to sweep. They expect Nolan to sweep. There was one person in that little cluster, that anonymous cluster, and I agree with this because we haven't seen it yet. They were like, I don't think we should say this until we see Dune Part 3.
Dune 3, absolutely.
Because, and of course, it's the excitement over seeing something like this. We don't really get a lot of movies like the Odyssey at all anymore, so I get the excitement over it. But, there is one big ass like similar-ish release at the end of the year that could also give everyone that overall feeling of like this was a masterpiece. And this just sweep awards. I think we should wait before we like say all that because like there are a lot of people who have like in the know who have worked on it and have seen little things from it that think in a lot of ways that this movie is that IP's Return of the King and that some of the actors, Chalamet, even Zendaya, give such strong performances here that they could sneak in acting awards too. So, I think we should maybe calm down. I get the excitement over it, but yeah.
It's easy too because the Odyssey came out first, but we haven't seen Nolan and Villeneuve go head to head yet because when it came to Oppenheimer and Dune Part 2, there was the delay with Dune Part 2, that famously, separated their competition for the Oscars. So now this year, though, they'll be going head to head. And as much as I love the Odyssey and want to see it reap up everything, I also have an immense love and respect for Denis Villeneuve and his projects. And I feel like his Dune movies have unfortunately just been not, I guess, overlooked when it comes to award season. They've gotten certainly lots of praise and attention, but I would love to see his crowning achievement pay off with all the awards. So I'm going to be very split when it comes down to the two of them and all the similar categories. I think you're going to be torn.
You especially.
I really will
because you love them both. I mean, I love them both too, but
lots of
if Dune Part 3 is as good, like I won't even know which way to lean. I was like. I was like, I'm happy for both of you.
Exactly.
I know what
as long as they both like I'll be happy.
And like he should have been nominated for Dune Part 2. Like it's crazy that he wasn't.
Insane that he wasn't.
And and I mean, and they get along. They're friends. They talk,
Admirers of each other. Yeah,
they're admirers of each other. But man, if I were a petty director, I'd be so mad if my movie was coming out the same year as the Odyssey. If I had my moment, I'm like, well, fuck, I'm not gonna win. Like,
exactly. Christopher Nolan casts an enormous shadow.
Yeah, this is when you start doing interviews where you go like, you know what? Awards don't mean anything. So that's when you start doing interviews like that.
Yeah,
they don't mean anything. I know I mentioned Anne Hathaway earlier, but what did you think of her overall?
Oh, very strong role for her.
Yeah.
Very like loved the character of Penelope, how steadfast she was, and also cunning and sort of like Odysseus's intellectual equal, which was great. She's holding the fort down at home. Her faith in him returning was a very powerful aspect of that movie that I really, really enjoyed. And also she does a great job of, as loyal and faithful that she is, that things go back to the way that they were and Odysseus will come home. She also has some great moments where you see the cracks beneath the armor, her doubt, her turmoil over what's going on, and the doubt that maybe he won't come home. Like those sequences in particular where she's sort of clashing with her son were really great emotional moments of the movie. Far and above, I mean, clearly one of the foremost lead actress role in that movie. There's no one that really comes close in terms of impact and screen time, but certainly.
I guess the nomination, she would go supporting, right? Because she is like, I think she's only like lead female, but I'm assuming that she would go support. See, this is when the whole category. It's when the whole like category fraud gets like thrown into play. And like, because everyone's like, well, she's a female lead, but she definitely is a supporting character. I mean, he is the lead, and everyone else in the movie supports him. So I mean, I guess she would be a supporting, and she'd be a strong contender for it. Like a lot of people love her. Like I've seen like so many like already like little fan edits. I don't know how they're doing them because people are just shooting the movie with their phones. But that they love the character and just love the agency that she brought to it. I also love that she didn't like coddle her son either. Like there were moments of course she loved her son, but once he was like kind of like, you know, like talking in his head and was like kind of like idealistic, she shut that down real quick. And I thought that was like a really impressive thing too. That, you know, she's, you know, experienced all this. She knows all this. She's seen so many things already. And even though she might respect his idealism, she's like, it's not realistic and this is not the world we're living in. And I love that there were a couple of moments where she kind of like hammered that into him. And I thought those were really strong scenes too. And I love one of my friends, her name's Erica, and she won't mind me saying that she is like so black, like black. And she was just like, and she was like talking to us, and she was all like, child, when Odysseus struck that bow and she turned around. That
was an awesome moment.
I was like, I know what you're saying. Like it was a really cool moment too, because when he doesn't get it right the first time, and it's that look of like, oh, and she like is disappointed, and then when he does it, and then she, that whole realization thing, it was so good, and then everyone in that room being like, oh fuck,
we're all dead.
We're all dead.
The slaughter that happens after was like, I'm balancing it as like my favorite sequence in the movie. There was a couple, but it was definitely up there. And it ends with a high note.
Yeah, and also too, like Christopher Nolan, you get a lot of criticism, particularly when he started doing the Batman movies, that the fight scenes that he directed weren't that good. There's a lot of like quick cuts and all that stuff. There was a lot of complaints about that in Batman Begins, and he's gotten like gradually better with that. And I think this was a good example of like, really well choreographed fight scenes that were cut to precision, that really like allowed you to like capture every moment. I know the actors said they did as much as they could themselves without, using stunt doubles, and they tried to do that as much as they could. I guess Tom Holland was like one of the main ones that like didn't want one because he's fucking Spider-Man. He's like, I don't need a stunt double. But like I love that he wanted to make sure that you saw as much of the authenticity of the fights as you could. And honestly, that might be that whole third act is so good. I mean, that when he's like talking to Penelope through like the door, and he's like, basically, laying down how like, I hate to dumb it down like this, but like, not all, most war is usually bad. There's not a lot of good reasons for us to go to war, and that realization of like, it also is a good character like arc for him, how he goes from this kind of like arrogant warrior to someone that is more humbled by his experiences, and
right,
and based on the things that he has seen, that like maybe this all wasn't really worth it. And I thought that was like probably the strongest scene for me. And just to have him having that conversation where they don't even have to like look at each other, and it's just like that dialogue and just his like basically monologue of like explaining all that, and then having it cut back to the Battle of Troy, but from this perspective of just how more of a massacre it was, that didn't really make them look good. Like the way it was framed in that sequence was just like, oh yeah, this wasn't like something to
wasn't
celebrate.
Honorable. It wasn't. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And then to have that moment of being like, oh well, that's why that image of Athena has been haunting him, because
totally recontextualizes that her character in the movie too, which I thought was a really great directing choice.
So I thought that whole sequence was like, that was probably my strongest like moment of the movie for me. I mean, the whole movie was great, but it was just like he's just so good at everything. He's good at like this vast, like immense, like storytelling, but then also these like quieter, like character moments too. That some directors can't do both. Some directors are all about like the pizzazz, and like when it comes to like character work, they're just like, I don't know what to do. Like leave it up to the performers, and like I don't know, like he clearly, even though like a lot of actors who work with him say that he leads them to their own devices, there's clearly something that he's doing with the people that he's working with that also brings out these like really special moments that aren't as big, but like still impactful though. But yeah, that was probably my favorite. I mean, that whole third act, I mean, probably one of the best third acts I've seen in like a long time.
Yeah, I cannot wait to experience it again. So I touched on it earlier, but so there's only 4 IMAX theaters in Atlantic Canada. So that's provinces of Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, where I'm from, Newfoundland, and Prince Edward Island. And the closest one to me is, luckily, it's only an hour and a half away. So I had tickets with my buddy to go see it. And then last minute, he had a family emergency, wasn't able to make it just the morning that we were leaving. But I had to go to that city for something else anyway. And so I was going to go. I made the drive by myself anyway. And I was like, do I go? Do I not? He sent me the tickets electronically so I could go. He didn't want to hold me back from going to see it. And then I did what I had to do there, and I had the whole day to myself. It was Sunday. I had nothing on the go. So I was like, you know what? Like, I got the tickets, got IMAX tickets. I'm going to go see it. Like, I'll go see it again with him anyway. It's not, the end of the world. So I go to the theater, and I get there, and I'm going to scan the ticket that he'd sent me electronically. And the clerk or the attendant that scanned it, he's like, did you already have this scanned? I was like, oh no. Like, what's the issue? He goes, oh, this is an IMAX ticket. I went to the wrong theater, essentially, because we don't have IMAX here. There was the IMAX theater was about 15 minutes away in the same city. I was like, oh no, this is a disaster. He goes, it's all good. You can go, like, just exchange your tickets at the booth, come back. Like, there's still seats for the showtime. Like, you can still see it. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to pass that up, because I was going to be too late to go make it to see it in IMAX.
Maybe the other one, yeah.
But shout out to I didn't catch her name, but the manager, I guess, at that theater recognized. I told her what happened. I was like, yeah, I clearly came to the wrong theater. My buddy had to bail. I'm just here by myself. She gave me 2 courtesy IMAX tickets, redeemable anywhere in Canada, with no expiration, and I didn't even have to pay for my ticket to see it. I was like, that is above and beyond what I expect. I was happy to pay to go see it in the regular format, and I was just going to take the loss. But anyway, they really came in clutch, so that was incredible. And I driven quite a distance to go see it, so that was a cherry on top. But that's how I came to see it in the regular format, expecting to see it in IMAX. But we're going to go back to that city to see it in IMAX with those courtesy tickets, and then I'll be seeing it in Halifax in August as well with for a buddy's bachelor party. So Cam, actually,
nice.
who I'm always talking about. So we'll be seeing it there.
Nice. And then you came up on like 2 tickets too. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was still stunning in regular format.
Yeah, that's what I heard, because I had a friend that went to go see it, and he was like, well, it like not, I still enjoy it. And so I was like, as a film, yes. And I think even as a technical achievement, you would. I think just because I've been inundated with so many, like, images of like, this is what it looks like this way, and this is what it looks like with half, some of the screen cut off. It would be too hard for me like to look at it like, oh well, I know I'm missing like a whole lot of shots in this frame.
Yeah,
so I would be able to like pay attention to it. But like for someone like him who just like is casually just watching movies, I don't think it would matter
right
either way. And he still really enjoyed it. And he was like, now he's like, I do want to see it on. He's like, dude, even getting a regular IMAX ticket is like right now is like near impossible, but even by us. And we have like a few IMAX screens in Los Angeles. I had to go to Universal City Walk for the one for work, which is about, well, it should only be 30 minutes away, but LA had a lot of traffic. Yeah. So it took an hour and a half to get there.
Oh my God.
30 minutes to get home, but an hour and a half to get there. And the Universal City Walk 70mm IMAX theater, it's like so nice. But a lot of people are they're saying that they just can't like, they're like, I'm looking for like even like, reasonable early morning showings, like 10 a.m. I can't even get that. They're like anything like during the day is just like sold out. Like, and that's why they end up adding like 2:00 in the morning and 6 a.m. showings. And my buddy was like, I haven't done that since, oddly enough, for another Christopher Nolan movie. He's like, I haven't gone to like a screening that early/late. He went to a 3:00 in the morning showing for The Dark Knight, and he's like, I haven't done that since then. And I was like, I might have to do it for this because like I don't want to wait that long to see it, as it was intended to be seen. But yeah, I mean, it's so cool that like, that he is able to make people like, hey, I want to see it, because that was, I guess, some concern about box office if it was going to be affected by people waiting to see it in 70mm or in IMAX, or would that really mess with numbers? And didn't really. I mean, people are just choosing to see it, and it's going to be one of the biggest movies of the year, one of the biggest movies of the summer. So kudos to him. No one's doing it like it, man.
No, not even close. I mean, I'd say close would be, if there wasn't a Christopher Nolan, I'd say Denis Villeneuve would be up there. And he's definitely putting out works of like equal or almost equal value. But when you have an auteur like Christopher Nolan at the pace and scale and quality that he's making movies, it's really hard to even be mentioned in that same ballpark as him.
Yeah. And what's crazy too, I mean, like I was thinking about it, like I think because we've been doing the show for a while now. This was something that, like, from casting to like it being announced and all that, like, been involved with this from like development up until getting to see it, which is also really interesting too. That like to be like, oh yeah, we talked about like this when it got cast, and we were like so excited, like this is what he's gonna do next, and then that wait seemed like forever. And then like it's finally got here. So that was another interesting thing too, like to like do something like this to like kind of track a movie from like its development to when it's released is a really strange yet beautiful thing at the same time.
And it really makes you feel that passage of time too, right? Like it's so many movies we've covered from inception to completion over the time of the show, and it's like, man, where does the time go? Where did the years go? And like some directors have made multiple movies that we've covered since they were greenlit till they've come out.
I know. I mean, we're gonna go through like 3 Dunes.
Exactly. It's just incredible.
I guess like because you've been looking forward to like, so this lived up to all your expectations, like all the hype, like no disappointments.
It's without a doubt. Again, like with a Nolan movie, you almost don't know, to expect greatness and to expect, a incredible cinematic experience. But the finer points of the movie, you're going in blind, so to speak. So I didn't really know what I wanted out of the movie, but I know I left satisfied. And that next viewing is when I will really sort of be able to fundamentally articulate why I feel it's so great that it's hard to do just after that one showtime. But like I left feeling full. I left feeling satisfied. I was over the moon at how visually great it was. One thing that I was kind of kicking myself for is I didn't notice the score a whole lot in the movie. Like I think I was just so enthralled by what I was seeing on screen. Like I was actively listening for it at a few moments. I was like, hey, I got to pay attention here to the music. Sometimes you just get lost in it as his composers are always so great, and the scores of his movies are like part of the movie itself.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because some people have said that this is like a weaker score from him.
I'm hesitant to frame it that way, but it didn't stick out to me so much as like Oppenheimer's did.
Yeah, it wasn't like a big score, I guess. Like it didn't really, but there were moments, like especially like towards the end of the movie, there was like certain little like musical like little secrets I thought really, actually the music that served more emotional beats worked for me more than like the score of it being used in more like big epic kind of scenes. It was like like when the score was used later in like quieter moments is when I actually heard it and felt it. Yeah, not a score that is as big as like some of the other ones he's done, but I thought it was still effective. But also, I like you. I thought I was getting lost in just what I was watching. And
I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah, so that's one thing that I have to like tune in for a little bit more, like intentionally next time I see it. It's like, hey, I know what to see, what I'm going to see now. I know what moments to expect, and now I got to like listen to the finer details, like the background music, the score, because that really a lot of it went over my head while I was watching it. So that was one thing I was surprised. Like I was waiting just to be like, oh, for it to kick in and be like, oh my god, that score is incredible, but that moment didn't really happen for me. But again, that's not a knock on the movie. That's my viewing experience of it. That's on me. But yeah, no, I don't really know what to rate it. Like I know it was a 5 out of 5 experience, but
I 5-starred it, but like that was more of the out of the theater reaction.
That's how it made me feel. Yeah, theater reaction. And I have no doubt that it'll be like a 5 or a 4.5 or something for me by the time but I just don't know that I could really give it that yet, just because it feels like, I don't know how to really put it into words, but like it's like viewing a tapestry for the first time. Like you get that what you're seeing is impressive, but you don't know why. I guess that's
quite why.
I can describe it. Yeah.
I know it's kind of been hard that the website wants me to do, and I keep putting it off. They want me to rank all his movies, and
a lot of those since this came out.
And like, the bottom half, and when I mean bottom, like the last two are kind of easy to do. But like, it almost feels bad when he has like so many great movies that like when there's one that like is universally loved that you have at like 6, everyone's like, well, why is like that one at 6? I'm like, it's still like a great 6. Like, I mean, I don't know how to really.
All his movies are great, but that's what you get with a chronological list.
Yeah, I know, and I find myself doing it myself. When I see people's lists and I see Insomnia like way down on like people's lists, I'm like, man, it's better than you guys give it credit for. It's like they're last. It's like rated last on their list. So like, I mean, even like below the following or whatever, it's fine. Like, I know it's not
still remains
as
one
big.
It is. Yeah,
I know it's not as big as his other movies. I guess The Prestige was like the last small movie he made.
Yeah,
like
which
$40
is
million.
Crazy to think about. Yeah, 20 years ago.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I don't know why. Maybe because I did rewatch Oppenheimer in the springtime, so maybe that's why I'm not so high on rewatching it right now. But of all movies of Christopher Nolan that I want to rewatch the most right now, it's Tenet. I don't know why, but I really want to see that again.
I want to rewatch that too because one, I only watched it once, and that's when it came out. And
okay,
yeah, I've only seen it once, and
really great rewatch. When you have subtitles on, that movie is exceptionally better.
because I remember the issue was, wow, I can barely hear the dialogue, and then I would like turn it up, and then like fucking sound design is just so like massive. But all his movies are really loud. This one especially was loud too. They actually warned us before our screening started. They're like, just to let you know that this movie is loud, but it's a Nolan movie, so that is it's to be expected. So yeah, that is one I probably want to rewatch because I've noticed that movie kind of low on people's lists too. Also, what was surprising, and we're gonna wrap this up here pretty soon, but there are movies of his that I thought were universally praised, like The Prestige has a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I know that's not like bad, but it's kind of low for a movie that I think it's great. And then Interstellar has a 72%.
I've never understood that.
I was reminded that at the time when both movies came out, that they weren't as like some people thought they were like a little pretentious, especially Interstellar, and that the passage of time has like benefited them both. Like as far as like a lot of people rank them as like some of their favorite Christopher Nolan movies now, but I didn't really pay attention to the reception of them when they first came out. And reading reviews back, a lot of people did think Interstellar was pretentious, and a little too self-involved and like a little heavy-handed, and this whole like we're all seeking human connection message. I was like, wow, I didn't really know that was the case, but way too low of a rating for both of them.
I agree. And I try not to take it personally, but like part of me does, because that was such like a revelation to me. Like when I saw that in theaters, it was like this awakening in me about like what film could be. And I just completely looked at cinema differently by seeing that movie. So it's hard when I'm seeing people like shit talking online. I'm like, oh, but that movie means so much to me. It's hard to like not to take offense to some of the slander for that movie. But I know it's always surprising that it's not like universally beloved, but over time, I get it. But yeah, that to me will always be a perfect movie. And The Prestige too, another one that I even find myself underrating sometimes. I'm like, I don't, you know what? I'm in a Christopher Nolan movie mood, and I'm scrolling through, and I'm like, The Prestige. I've seen that a bunch. I don't really need to see it. And then when this movie,
twist gets me every time, man. So good, so good. Perfect sleight of hand with that movie. Themes are just running throughout. Maybe it'll probably be on the other show. Maybe by the end of the year we'll be able to rank our Nolan movies and like share them with everyone.
Maybe it's time to cover Tenet as well. We both really want to rewatch it. It'd be a second watch for you. I would love to plan that because I'm on a Nolan high right now.
Yeah, I seriously haven't seen it since it came out, and like
that's 6 years now, which is crazy.
Yeah, and that's mostly because that's why it is so low. But like I haven't watched it since it came out, so I probably should give it a rewatch, and maybe I won't be as annoyed with I'll know what the sound's like.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I might have to watch it with subtitles. That was like the main thing. I was like, I can't hear the dialogue, and I'm like turning it up, and then my windows feel like they're gonna like blast out from all of it. But yeah, anything else you want to share about the movie before we wrap things up?
Other than another watch of this movie, I feel like we could do a whole other episode on, because there's so many like dense themes and bigger themes, that we didn't even get to discuss. There's just like a Nolan movie. There's just so many great aspects of it that you could spend hours talking about. But I can't wait to see it again, especially in IMAX. I hope anybody listening that has held off so far, don't miss your chance. I know easier said than done, depending on where you're at, but worth the drive, worth the time. It was a full day of driving, sitting in the theater, driving home. It was literally like a 7-hour experience, but I would do it again. It was super worth it.
Like you said, your own Odyssey.
And we will be lucky if we get another Nolan movie in that same 3-year time span. I'm a little nervous because he has gone public about how exhausting this was and how we need to break.
He said he he said he pushed the limits of his own stamina making this one. I mean, it seems like everyone did making it. I mean, I do love to like listen to all the people involved. Like Matt Damon basically said like this is like the best like thing he feels like he's done, that everything he's done in his career has led up to doing this. And of course, like the newbies like Tom Holland on them were so excited to just be there and doing a Nolan movie. I also thought it was cute because they're in a relationship, how he was able to tell Zendaya that how she was in it, because Christopher Nolan had a meeting with him, and then he was like, okay, I want you to do this, and then he was like, oh, and then how would you think like Zendaya would feel about like having a role as like Athena? And he was like, oh, I think she would love it. And he's like, well, do you want to tell her, or you want me to tell her? He's like, well, can I tell her? And then so he went back home, and she was like, I guess so stoked about his meeting. And then he was like, okay, I want you to read the screenplay again. She's like, well, we read it last night. And he's like, no, like read it again, but like pay attention to Athena. And then I guess she was just like, like I get to be in the Nolan movie. That's exciting. And like, and some of her fans online are like, well, wow, she takes such a small part. I was like, because you take a small role in the Nolan movie. Yeah, you take anything. One, he's Christopher Nolan, but also when he does something next time, he might give you an even bigger role in his next thing. Exactly. So there are no small parts in a Christopher Nolan movie. I think most of us would take like one line in a Christopher Nolan movie. Oh my god, I would be an extra in a Nolan movie, and it would be the highlight of my life. Like fly me out to Morocco to waste all my time for one line. I'm like, all right, cool. I'd give a month of my life to be in the background of a shot. Yeah. I forgot fucking like Mia Goth isn't this? Like, I know. I actually totally forgot about her. Yeah. Yeah, small part, but like the same reasoning she had for doing it is like, he calls you. You don't turn him down. Yeah, exactly. I do think it's funny that they said that everyone accepted it without reading the script, except for Robert Pattinson wanted to read it. like everyone was like said like yes, no questions asked, and he was like, well, I didn't mean it like I didn't trust him. I just wanted
right.
He's like, I'm stupid. Robert Pattinson is becoming like my favorite person to watch. Like it's like it's so crazy how he went from like Twilight, which he still talks about with like admiration. He doesn't talk down about it. I that's respectful because most people in this position would be like, "You, I don't want to talk about that movie anymore," because I know he knows it's trash. Like I know he does, but he also knows it gave him a career, so he can't really diss it.
And he's
much.
18 years past that now, so
past it, yeah. He can look back on it with like probably more fondness and then still joke about how like, oh, they're terrible, but they made money, maybe an international star, so
made him a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah, so you just take it out, and then maybe once you do see it again, and after I see it again, maybe we can have an episode where we just talk about like the greater themes of the movie, rather than like the technical
Super
stuff.
down.
Because I think that there is a lot to, like you said, it is pretty dense, and there is a lot to cover. That's a lot deeper than like even just the technical stuff in the movie, and so I would be totally down to do that after seeing it again. Because I've definitely seen it again.
Too. Yeah, 100%. I got 2 confirmed showtime. I don't know if I need to see it 4 times in theaters. Maybe. I think I wouldn't turn it down, but 3 will be plenty. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because you're
9 hours of the Odyssey.
You're not seeing Spider-Man, so like you might as well just.
True. Yeah.
You might as well see that. You're pretty honest about that, so you see the Odyssey again. All right, guys, this has been episode 297 of Back to the Blockbuster. We're getting really, really close to episode 300. We have something kind of planned. We're talking about it. We do know that our spinoff will launch on the week that we premiere our 300 episodes. So that is going to happen. There'll be a little audio teaser trailer at the end of this episode for you guys to listen to preview what that is. So we're really excited that that's finally going to be done. We can verify that our Back to the Blockbuster website has been revamped and redone. The newsletter stuff is going to be working now, so we're going to start collecting your emails so we can send you newsletters after each episode. And the Cinema Vault also has a website that we will also be using and also sending newsletters from. Playlist has decided to help us out a lot with the newsletter, so like we'll throw in like our ideas on what we want in it, and then they will help construct the actual layout of the newsletter. So thank you again, Playlist, for adding more to your plate and not being mad that we're having another show. But they asked for it, so it's fine.
They're very supportive.
So yeah, big milestone coming up, and very excited to start the other show with the other guys because they're itching to get on too. So thank you again, Jackson. I know you've been really busy. People have been stepping in and doing episodes while you've been busy as well.
Yes, appreciate that
in your absence. As always, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcast. That's it for this episode of Back to the Blockbuster. Thanks for tuning in and geeking out with us over all things movies. Make sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and stay connected on our socials for more film talk. We'll be back soon with another episode. Until then, happy watching. Ready to unlock the secrets of your favorite movies celebrating milestone movie anniversaries? Want to crack the code on cinema with some in-depth deep dives? Well, welcome to the Cinema Vault. Join hosts Gaius Bowling, Tyler Lido, Jackson Pye, and Dustin Rivka, along with a rotating lineup of guests as they open the safe and jump into a treasure trove of movie facts from some of the best in cinema, both old and new. You do not want to get locked out of this one. The Cinema Vault is here for all movie fans to explore.